Perfect.
All right, welcome to the very first episode of Nashville Network Alliance, where we collaborate to help Nashville's community share their expertise and connect with one another to make our city a better place. Today's episode, titled The Beginner's Blueprint from Zero to Fit, will explore the intersection of culture and fitness. Today, we're going to be discussing cultural norms and barriers that impact women's fitness journeys and how gender expectations within communities shape attitudes toward body image. We will also talk about how to create a healthy body image, build a positive relationship with food, and how to overcome the anxiety of going to the gym. And finally, we're going to discuss some strategies for helping a sustainable gym routine and offer advice for beginners on creating a realistic fitness schedule. I'm excited to introduce our guest today. From surviving the war in Iraq to seeking refuge in Egypt and eventually finding a new home in Tennessee, her journey is nothing short of inspiring. She's a powerlifter, bodybuilder, and coach. Please help me welcome Aya Alkazzaz.
Hi, thank you for having me. I feel so honored to be the first person on this podcast. Oh my goodness. I'm really excited to be on here and just to share so many helpful tips and so many strategies for every day. I feel like fitness is definitely an industry that can be misconstrued. A lot of people don't have a lot of clear knowledge about it. Many have just ill intentions when it comes to fitness, coaching and things like that, how to pick the right guidance or how to pick out the correct knowledge and the things that work best for you. So I'm definitely excited to share anything and everything that I've gone through. My journey is pretty much still new. Like I've only been in the gym for 4 years now, but there's just so much that I've learned as a hybrid athlete, being, a strength athlete as well as a physique athlete, and just seeing different and drastic changes in my own body and living it as well with the culture. It's very different for us. Especially as women, I want to say fitness for us is important, and many don't really have correct knowledge or clear knowledge, or um, a lot of us fall into sales traps
Yeah,
because it's very very easy to do that. But I'm excited to kind of clear that up and
yeah,
get that rolling. Yeah, absolutely.
we're excited to have you. And I have
Thank
a
you.
couple questions just to start off about you. And my first question is if you could share your personal background
Yeah.
like in fitness and how you believe like as an Arab woman that has shaped it or has not shaped it.
Absolutely. So, you already mentioned I was born in Iraq. I was born in 2000, and obviously that was shortly before the war. And my family escaped to Cairo, Egypt. Well, yeah, we escaped to Cairo, Egypt in 2005 and lived there for about 5 years until we got our paperwork to move to the United States. And we eventually settled in Tennessee. And I want to say, like, growing up, my family didn't incentivize physical fitness.
Yeah,
Uh, if
either.
anything, yeah, they didn't. Mostly to protect our physical body, but I want to say like that kind of was a detriment more than anything to my health because I grew to be a bigger kid. I was eating for comfort because, I was trying to cope with just so many changes in my life, being a kid, having gone through, all of these moves and things like that. I didn't have like a stable, how do you say, like
Childhood.
foundation childhood. I didn't.
Yeah.
So I used food for comfort,
Mhm.
I was trying to seek that because I didn't have some kind of outlet to move my body.
Yeah.
Because yeah, when you have an outlet to explore your body and movement is is number one. It is absolutely number one, especially when you're growing up as a kid. We need play. Like playgrounds are for kids for a reason. So
Exactly.
yeah, it was restrictive, having being sheltered physically and being always warned like, hey, don't do this, don't run outside, don't play for too long, don't do this movement. So I was using food for comfort, trying to seek just emotional sustenance through it. And it created a bit of friction in our culture because we come from places where they don't even greet you. Like they don't say hi. They don't say hi to you. They comment like, "Oh wow, you've gained weight. Oh wow, you've lost weight." Like right away.
I mean,
So
I think in, like not just Middle Eastern culture, but
no, yeah, it's a lot of Eastern cultures in
yeah,
general.
like African culture too is the same. Like they're very like we're just very used to just saying things like in our culture about people's bodies, and that should not be normalized at all. Um,
Hmm.
because that could, misconstrued your body image or make you see yourself like in a different light. It's not healthy for women especially. So I
Yeah, it can
definitely
it can definitely it can definitely be a negative mindset that's created out of that.
Mhm.
And it's difficult to overcome that um, emotional aspect of it. But like, I'm going to talk further about this when it comes to body image, um, because it, it, we have to get out of that emotional space when it comes to our bodies in order to see changes that we want to see. We have to be practical. We have to be uh, disciplined. And those are things that have to get you out of the thinking portion of fitness and more into the doing and the action. Like right now, I'm in a bodybuilding prep, and a lot of what I'm learning internally is that you can't be stuck thinking or feeling your way through the process. You just have to do it for yourself. You just have to do it.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean by you can't be thinking about? I mean, because
Like when somebody says that they have food noise or something like that. That's a term that just kind of popped up on in media. Um, I asked them like, what is food noise to you? Like, why are you always thinking about food? It's like, are you seeing food as a comfort again? Like it's that emotional aspect that we have to disconnect. Like we talk about this, outside of here, you and I. It's like attachment is the root of all suffering.
yeah.
And yeah, so like when we are attaching certain emotions, negative emotions to food,
Mhm.
like shame, like guilt, or just sadness,
Mhm.
we're gonna have that food noise. But that's a thinking space. When you're in that attachment portion, you're in a thinking space. You're not in a doing space because you're not doing something about it. You're just feeling something about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to um just doing something instead of feeling something,
Yeah.
you know?
So how does like food uh like what role does food play in your fitness journey now?
Um, I always tell people this percentage game. I want to say 65% of the results that you get from fitness are going to be from your nutrition.
Yeah.
And and 25 are going to be the working out and the movement. And the 15 are going to be your recovery, like your sleep and supplementation. And the thing is, people want to go the easy route and just focus on supplementation. What's the quickest fix? And I'm like, you're missing 85% of the equation right there. And they're like, what's the quick pill? Like most people ask me what my supplement routine is before they ask me what I eat. And I'm like, these are like supportive things to my journey. They're not pivotal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to say nutrition is definitely something that people have to care about.
Mhm.
I like her percentage equation. Thank you. Um, so it's one of those things that if you are not paying attention to your nutrition and you're just focused on movement and the supplements that you're buying, you're not going to see the greatest results. You're really not. And my advice with nutrition is that start seeing food as fuel. People try to moralize food and the kind of intake that they have, as far as like good or bad. Um, and there is no good or bad if you're seeing food as fuel. Because when you hold shame around certain foods, you're never going to be able to enjoy what the food does for your body.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so again, it's all about detaching the negative emotions around food that people usually always carry. Like, okay, oh, this food is boring. I'm like, how can you make it not boring?
So,
Um,
so speaking of that, one of the questions I had for you was how can people create a healthy relationship with eating, but especially within culturally rich food traditions? Because, as Middle Easterns and North Africans, like our food just has so much spices and it can, be hard to go to these events and like not take, not be able to participate in that part of our like culture. So how do you go about that? Like, do you allow yourself to still kind of participate in that, but
yeah,
not
yeah.
indulging in it
I
like,
mean,
mhm.
again, with nutrition, it's a lifestyle change. It's not one of those things that like um you get to just do 5 days a week and then 2 days out of the week you get to, free ball it. But it's definitely a lifestyle change, like I said, and you can have food freedom. It's not impossible um, to go out and enjoy every now and then. It's just one of those things where you have to recognize that if it's a consistent thing that you're doing
Yeah,
and you have a certain goal that you're trying to reach, um, you need to just go back and reevaluate. Like you can't be going out every day eating whatever you want. That's not what I advise, obviously, but um I'll give myself like a free meal every week. Or if I have the a certain goal to grow, I go out more often. Which is a certain thing, like when you're in a certain physique, there are people who want to grow and gain weight. You can have a couple more free meals. Those are important. And you mentioned spices. I make my food, like my protein sources as as spicy as I want them. I put whatever spices I want. That's freedom that you have right there, and that's an option that you can always take up. Um, if I want to make rice, like my mom does with saffron, I do it. So like you have that option to incorporate your culture and still have it in your day to day. It's not impossible. People like to be hard on themselves, but like I said, finding that balance, and incorporating the things from your culture that you can incorporate whenever you can, you should absolutely do that. And yeah, like you can definitely enjoy going out with people and being part of your culture. It's not limiting. Absolutely not. And you can have certain foods. It's just about moderation. It's always about the moderation and the balance. Yeah, absolutely.
So for a complete beginner, how do you suggest them to go about that healthy approach to food? And like, what do you recommend? Because I mean, I just feel like it's such a broad topic, and a lot of people don't know where to start with how, I mean, some people they're
I always recommend hiring a coach. Just someone who can give you a basic meal plan. Um, and following through with that. If you have a goal to lose weight, try to find a nutrition coach. Try to find someone who has a reputation with making changes for other people. And it, it, it it's it's not, how do you say, trying to make changes. If you have a goal to make a change, you're gonna want help at first if you have complete like zero knowledge on how to do it for yourself. Because I had to do that. Because
Well,
when I started my journey, I was doing it wrong. I was starving myself because all I knew, okay, calorie deficit. Everybody knows that you have to put yourself in a calorie deficit to lose weight. And I did it the wrong way. I was not eating enough. I became malnutritioned, if anything. So I sought help. You know, when you seek help from sources who are knowledgeable, they can guide you and take you places that are far. And ask people what worked for them
yeah.
and experience that for yourself. Most people are just going to absorb information and not try to apply it for themselves. Um, or they go into extremes like, okay, this is like I did, you know, like I'm speaking from experience. Like, okay, I went to the extreme route of starving myself and it wasn't healthy. And I had to seek extra help for that. So I would say my advice is definitely seeking help outside of just the internet because there's so many people who are trying to just sell you some kind of supplement, some kind of product, some kind of uh, anything.
So let's
Yeah.
say the person like does not have the financial resource to be able to afford a coach and they just want to have like a healthy lifestyle, not like anything too crazy. How do you
Yeah.
suggest them having, that how do they start to like eat healthy or how do they go about making sure that they don't indulge in food when they do get like really hungry or eating?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I would say prioritizing different sources of food like protein and fiber. Um, so we have three macronutrients. We have protein, carbs, and fats. And the macronutrient that takes the longest to digest is protein. And if you increase your protein intake, you are going to be less hungry. You are going to feel more satiated, as well as fibrous carbs, things like oats, sweet potatoes. Those are things that can also again prolong that digestive process to the point where you're feeling fuller throughout the day. Um, greens, vegetables, fruits, all of these things that whole foods are definitely the number one thing that I tell people to prioritize in their diet if they don't want the food noise, if they don't want the constant paying attention to food, because when you do that, you are satiating your body with enough vitamins, minerals, macronutrients to sustain all of your organ systems. And like I said, protein is essential. It's an essential, you know, macronutrient that most people are not getting in their diet. And it's harder nowadays with so much food lacking in it.
Mhm.
And it's easy to sell food that is higher in fats, higher in carbs, because it's just quick to make. It's most fast food.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice is definitely try and focus on whole food sources. Yeah.
Okay, moving on from food, I wanted to talk about how many women, especially in fitness, struggle with body dysmorphia. And
Hmm.
how do you believe cultural pressures have affected women, like especially like particularly foreign women? And how have you personally navigated that in the gym? Like, have you ever experienced body dysmorphia or been affected by it as a bodybuilder?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've experienced body dysmorphia for sure. Um, and it can oscillate. Like I said, there's extremes when it comes to it where you think you look amazing or you think you look absolutely terrible. And you just have to understand that your image is temporary. That's a constant reminder that I have to be like, okay, my body is constantly changing. There are so many factors and variables that can change my physique. Um, your sleep can change it, your water intake, your salt intake, your sodium. Yeah, like that can affect the way that you look in the
Your
mirror.
as well, like women's hormones, their cycle.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you track your cycle, if you're in the luteal phase, your progesterone is spiked. And what does progesterone do? It makes you retain water.
Mhm.
So you look
Exactly.
fluffier during that time. So
Exactly.
it's one of those things that you just have to remind yourself constantly that your body is in phases and it will like it's very, very rare that your body is going to look the same every day. And
Mhm.
you just have to appreciate what it does for you because I think when you sit in appreciation and gratitude for your body, it's very, very easy to curb the
Negative
ro-
thoughts
the
and
negative
yeah,
mindset because
exactly.
yeah, like okay, I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I'm grateful that my body can house this muscle, even if I don't like it this day. I'm grateful that my body has the processes and the proper nutrients that it needs today. So it's a mindset shift that definitely has to be conscious. It's a conscious mindset shift that I advise many people to constantly do. Like just a journal, open a journal and write what you're grateful for in your body. That is something that I think is pivotal in that change. I have a gratitude journal and I always write something about my body that I'm grateful for. You can dedicate one to yourself every day. And I think people will be surprised if they start doing that with just how much they're going to see the changes in their body
I
when they
actually
move with
have
gratitude.
Yeah, what you said is on point because I have a journal just for the gym and it's not perfect. Like I'm not consistent with it like I should be, but it's like a small little journal from like Dollar General or something. And like every time I have like a set, I just write like my set just to keep up with, my progress and also to kind of just like put my thoughts out there on paper because I feel like the gym can be a very meditative place as well. So having a journal for fitness is really important and not a lot of people like tell you that. I just discovered on mine on my own because I found myself like always opening the notes app and just having like a lot to just I don't know what it is, but it brings your subconscious thoughts to the surface, I've noticed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. I kind of just do the notes app myself just because I have
More
my program
convenient.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just easier. But no, I definitely recommend that. Every time you get movement in, I'm grateful that I went on this walk. I'm grateful that I went on this hike. I'm grateful that I was able to lift this weight today. Um, and it's great. It keeps you consistent. And it makes you look forward to it more than anything.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are like, how do you go to the gym every day? How do you do this every day? And I'm just like, when you're moving with gratitude, it's very hard to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Yeah, how particularly. So, yeah, for sure. I definitely think that it's great to have a tool like that to remind yourself to be grateful for your body.
I mean, I'll say one of the main things I found to motivate me to go to the gym was the fact that I'm able to even walk or like people don't think about that. But when you're
Yeah.
working in a hospital and you see how people can like they have a hard time even like being able to take two or three steps because of an accident or just like a genetic disorder, you think about it and you're like, I am so privileged to be able to walk. Like I should be
Yeah,
so grateful and I should continue like building my muscles up because I have the ability to do so. Some people don't have that. So it's crazy to think that like our bodies, they're able to do all of these things and I feel like we don't thank God enough for it. Like we really don't. But I feel like going to the gym is like a type of like gratitude to God about our bodies. Like that's kind of how I think of it. Like, thank you for allowing me to be able to do these things. Now I want to like be better and get better because other
absolutely.
people can't. So,
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100% because I um I have a lot of family who are ill. Some who have cancer, some who were paralyzed from the waist down. And it makes you just think about yourself when you're trying to get active again. Because like you start thinking from that perspective, like, what if I was in their shoes and I was never able to do this? I
Exactly.
have to do this now. And there's just so much to fitness with functionality, like being able to functionally do something is so it's awesome. Like I'm telling you, like there's just so much that so many benefits that reap out of fitness that just aren't about looks. They're not just about how you look. They're really not. If you can squat, just a body weight squat, you're and you keep doing that for, I don't know, like years on end and forever, you're not gonna need help to use the toilet when you're 60. Yeah,
Exactly. A lot
that's
of
something
people
that
have
I tell people. Like
that.
if you want somebody to help you use the toilet before your retirement,
That's
stop
gonna be my
squatting.
next motivation. Is
Yeah,
just
I'm like, just stop squatting.
no, I mean, that's something a lot of people don't think about. Like, they don't think about how much like not being active now is gonna affect their health in the future. I mean, we are not immune to this. Like, we are just as likely to look like the older people, but we don't think about that when we're young. You know,
Yeah.
feel like we're invincible, but that's
Mhm.
not true. Like, we have to still work on ourselves and move our body to prevent
Absolutely.
having disease
Absolutely.
in the future. It's not just about how, my stomach is flat or, for guys like my muscles or abs. Like, it's not always about that. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's also for our like mental and physical health. But moving on, I really want you to talk about how the gym can be intimidating for new people. How did you develop a healthy relationship with the gym, and how can beginners overcome their anxieties?
Um, I was very anxious, I would say like the first week. I didn't really know what I was doing. Um, and I was looking around at everyone, but I felt like everyone was looking at me, even though they
Yeah,
really
same.
weren't. They really weren't.
Nobody's looking
Um,
at you. Everybody's thinking
Nobody.
about their own self, like, and probably thinking that everyone's looking at them, but nobody's looking at anybody. Like, I've actually done the craziest mistakes in the gym. Like, I've fallen before and I looked around because first I was like, nobody wants to help because no one can even see me. Like, everyone's in their own world because I looked around, like, I thought everybody'd be rushing to help or something like that. Like, I fell from the Stairmaster.
Mhm.
It was like my first week in the gym, and yeah, like nobody's looking at you. So don't hurt yourself because nobody's gonna help you. Most like
No, yeah, no. I mean, if you're going for something kind of like a personal record on, you know, a heavy lift, I would definitely ask for help. Like ask for a spotter whenever you need one. But yeah, I have failed lifts. I have failed squats without anybody coming to help, even though there were people around, because everybody's just focused on themselves. You just have to remind yourself when you're anxious in the gym is that like everyone else feels the same way about it and they're self-conscious
yeah,
and they're paying attention to themselves more than they are paying attention to you.
exactly.
Like when I go to the gym, I'm in the zone. As someone who like I'm in the gym almost every day. And I go in there and I'm like, okay, I have a goal to do this and this and that and that. Why would I be paying attention to what someone else is
Okay,
doing?
but be honest, you're a bodybuilder. So your body, the way it looks like, obviously you can tell that you've been doing this for a while. Be honest. Have you ever looked at someone and been like, dang, like they're so behind or I'm way better? Like just tell us
Oh
straight.
my goodness. Absolutely never have I looked at someone and was like, yo, like, why is this person in the gym? Absolutely never. Because when I see someone in the gym, I see someone who's working on themselves and
Yes.
someone who loves themselves enough to be in there and make a change.
Exactly. Like, if anything, I get inspired by people with all different types of body sizes. Like, everybody is inspiring to me because I'm just like, dang, like if they're in here and like they're a beginner, then I have no excuse myself. I've been doing this for some time, so what's my excuse? Like they're new and they're doing great. So if anything, like I think a lot of people who have been in the gym should take it as motivation. And if they don't, then they're just like not a like they're probably like emotionally like immature, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You will eventually like run into people um who could be injuring themselves in some way. Like I've seen someone who would work out beside me and I'm like, ouch, like that looks painful. And as someone who's been in the gym for a while, I have an approach. If I see someone who's about to injure themselves, it's because they're beside me and I'm seeing that the hazard, I walk up to them and I'm like, can you take some advice right now? Are you accepting advice?
Yeah.
And that's how you approach it. But I'm not gonna lie, like most people do not care what you are doing in the gym
Oh,
at all.
who cares?
Yeah.
Everybody here just think, and some people even wear hats and like hoodies and stuff. So like what, like I don't know, like they're not paying attention to you. Like you're not even in their vision. So
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's in there with a goal, and if you're anxious, just remind yourself that everybody has that goal, and you should stick to yours.
okay, so my next question is how can beginners create a realistic and sustainable fitness plan, especially when they're juggling other commitments like family, work, or school?
Um, you have to carve out the time. That period. Like you have to find the time of day in your week, structure it out. How many times can you go to the gym in a week? Let's say you can go 3 times. When can you go? Can you go in the mornings? Do you have time in the afternoons? Can you go in the evenings? And yeah, the answer is dedication. You have to, yeah, it's discipline more than it is motivation to go to the gym, if anything. Um, like I said, it's about carving out the time and making it up for yourself.
Mhm.
Because when you're not putting in the energy for yourself and you have all of these things that are outside of you that you're giving all your energy to, what are you going to have for yourself in the end of the day? So I find going to the gym like a ritual of self-love.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I've never heard it like that. That's so
It's
beautiful.
a ritual of self-love. Like I give all of my time to my work, all of my time to my family, all of my time to my friends. What is the one thing that I can make for myself today? That can be going to the gym. So and it's very much like a place where I can just again be appreciative for myself and
Mhm.
have that power and take it back for myself, and then I walk out and I can go back right to where I was and feel amazing being there for everybody else because I took the time to be there for me,
Wow,
you
that is
know.
so beautiful. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so there are, I know so many moms. I know moms who just had kids who are in the gym still every day and they just make the time. There are gyms who will watch your kids for you for an hour and a half while you do your workout. There are accommodations for people with responsibilities outside of the gym. And you just have to carve out that time every time that you want to go. Dedicate however much you can, 30 minutes, hour and a half, however much you can, and just go and do it. And you will only be more satisfied with the consistency of that type of routine.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just it only grows. That's all I can say.
So let's say someone, because I know a lot of our viewers like are either medical students or have like a 9 to 5 job, which is really difficult. I mean, you can understand because you've been both. I mean, not, but like in
Yeah, I
school,
have a 9 to 5. Yeah.
that it's so much. Like you get so emotionally and like physically exhausted by the end of the day. So what do you recommend like for a person who has never worked out before to not like be in the situation where they go home or like change their mind last minute? Like what, because the way I think about it, like this is what's the only thing that's worked for me. And like I have this my gym bag today is I don't go home. I like will go to work or school and then have like my gym bag with me. So I just go straight there on my way. Like I just feel like if I go home, that's it. Like there's no way I'm gonna get back up and get back in the car. So what do you recommend for people like me who just don't have like the discipline all the time to go?
Um, I mean, like I said, like, when you're in that 9 to 5 or you're in that class, you're still giving away your energy to all of those things outside of yourself.
Yeah,
Um, so taking it back and saying like I reclaim my energy back in this area that I can do this. I am determined. I am, going to do this for myself. Like you just have to prioritize yourself. That is just something that you have to come to terms with. And it, it, it it's
some
just yeah, it's taking back your energy from all of the time that you just spent giving it away.
I mean,
And
someone might think of it like taking back my energy is like me going home and like chilling on TikTok, like or like it's just like they're tired, like so what like how to
do
prevent.
any type of movement. I mean, if you have a 9 to 5, wake up early in the morning, do something for yourself, for you in the early morning, and then go about your workday. Like I do that sometimes. I'll wake up at 4 a.m. or 4:30, and I will go do my cardio. I'll just do the Stairmaster, or sometimes I'll do a lift. Um, just for myself. And then I come back home, do my routine, go about my 9 to 5.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a dedication to yourself. It's an act of self-love. You have to view it as that. It's a mindset shift. It's all in the mind. It's a game of the mind for sure.
exactly. So once a plan is in place, what strategies can help someone um well, actually, you've kind of already answered this. So, how do you recommend beginners making a plan? Like, this is a person who has never like touched the gym, but they want to create a schedule. Like, Monday I go do this, Tuesday I do this. What is the first step? Like, the very first step in all of this?
So again, writing out your goals. It depends on what kind of body you're in. Are you able to, move your joints? Someone who is very overweight, like morbidly obese, I would not suggest that they start away with heavy weights. Absolutely not. I would suggest something like incline walking on a treadmill, walking outside to get 10K steps in. Just movement, any type of movement that you find joy in, is going to be my number one recommendation for anyone starting out. It can be dancing, it can be a yoga class. You have to explore that stuff for yourself. Go out and experience it, and see what works best for you. Like my older brother, he's into cycling. He competes in cycling.
Well, I
Like
didn't know that. That's so
and
cool.
and then and I would never do that. I would hate to do that. I
Mhm.
have short legs, short stubby legs. I don't like cardio. I liked lifting heavy weights because I went out and I went to the gym and I found that form of joy for myself. You could be someone who enjoys yoga. You could be someone who enjoys Zumba. You could be someone who just enjoys group classes, Pilates. Those are things that you just have to explore. And if you don't like them, don't do them. That's it. That's my recommendation is that go out, find something that you enjoy doing. There are so many modalities, people that you can ask in the gym. I know a lot of gyms offer group classes. That's a really good way to begin a fitness journey because it's a lot less intimidating. There's someone instructing you to do it, and walking you through the whole course. So I would start out with that. And if you don't like it, try out different cardio machines. Maybe you like the elliptical. Maybe you like the Stairmaster. Don't know who actually does. Um, yeah,
Not after that one time I fell. I don't like the
yeah,
Stairmaster.
maybe you like cycling. Those are things you just have to explore. Get into an exploratory phase with your fitness, and see what you really enjoy the most.
Okay, so as long as they're just starting off at least like any sort of just movement, that's
Movement,
the most
any
important.
type of movement. Absolutely. Yeah. And I will say, exploring the weights is difficult. I would try and have someone with you teaching you the ins and outs. Someone who's been to the gym, like, dude, you would be so surprised when someone just walks up to me and asks me, how to do something. I light up with joy. Just ask anyone in the gym. I promise you, they would be more than happy to help show you how to do something.
I mean, that's
Like
how yeah, that's how I didn't when I first got there, like I would, and that's how I actually made friends too, because I would just be like, how do you use this machine? And nobody is going to judge you. Like, if anything, everybody is like, they get happy. They're like, let me show you, because I,
yeah, it's like, wait, like you find me like fit enough to show you how to do this? Like what? And I would happily go and do it. It's one of those things where you just have to kind of step out of your comfort zone. It's a social anxiety type of thing. But yeah, like the the most important information, and I will say the best type of information I have learned is from the big scary dudes that nobody wants to ask.
yeah. I mean, where do they even get that reputation in the first place? Like, why do people think like people that go to the gym consistently are so intimidating and
I
like,
think it's just stereotypes among people who are insecure. They create, like, oh, this guy looks better than me. I bet he's like, oh, he's mean and blah 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 blah. And it's they just have a mean face because they're in the zone, they're training. Do you want me to be smiling lifting 80 pounds? It's one of those things like okay, be realistic. Yeah, they're gonna look mean if they're doing something hard.
exactly.
So yeah, if you are trying to get into weight training at all, seek some kind of assistance from someone who has been doing it for a while, and I can guarantee you they would love to help because I asked questions a lot and I was not afraid to ask questions. So my number one advice, if you're in the exploratory phase of fitness and just movement, and you're trying to explore weight training, just ask. That's it. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
People would love to help. Yes.
Okay, and this is my last question until we go into questions. So if you guys have any questions, you can just put them in the comments, or we could also like I can also open up the voice and camera and you can ask it that way. But my last question is, what's next for you in your fitness journey and how do you hope to continue inspiring others?
So right now, like I said, I'm in a bodybuilding prep. Um, my journey into bodybuilding has been drastic. It has been intense. And Um, I've been dieting for it for a long time. I want to say since November of last year. And it's been consistent, like checking off the boxes. I got enough sleep. I ate this meal. I drank this much water. I took this supplement. Et cetera, et cetera. I trained this much. I did this much cardio. It's a lot of intense, it's an intense journey for sure. Um, and I'm really not sure. I take it as I go because I'd never expected to be here. Like I said, I like exploring everything. Like maybe I'll do a powerlifting meet next year. Who knows? It's one of those things like if I'm intuitively feeling it, if I feel like my body can handle it and I can push past the limits, I absolutely go and do it. So I don't seek to inspire people like in a way that like I put myself out there. I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna do me and I'm gonna encourage you to do you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like you are definitely one of the most inspiring people I've ever met because I don't think there's any Arab girl or like Middle Eastern girl I know that is like in the gym that represents other like women like women of color in Nashville that is like as dedicated as you. And so, I mean, how has that affected like your
I
journey?
have had so many like Arab women, Middle Eastern women like in my DMs telling me like you inspired me to lift more weights and I feel so much stronger and I just do my own thing. And it's one of those things that like I didn't realize how it would affect other people. I didn't go into fitness thinking that I'm going to make a change in the world. I really didn't. Like I said, I was doing this for myself, for my own health, for my own journey. And you'd be surprised if you just did something for yourself authentically and enjoyed it, how many people you would be inspiring. Just doing something that you love because it's really fulfilling, but it's even more encouraging, I would say, to know that you're inspiring other people just by being yourself.
Okay. Uh, that's the most beautiful response I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna go into questions because I already know I can talk to you forever, as we always.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first question is by Bilal, and he says, I do work out at 4 p.m. before working two jobs. Well, actually, this isn't a question. I thought there was. Okay, Hawaii this asks, what is the best diet for a woman over 50 years old?
Mm. Again, whole food diet. I recommend that to really anyone. Taking into consideration your hormones are going to be changing a lot. That's about the time that most women hit menopause. So focusing a lot on healthy fats, like from sources like avocados, nuts like cashews and almonds. Um, Eggs are really important for women as well because they contain choline, which, that is a hormone regulator. So your hormones are definitely fluctuating when you're in early 50s. So I would say hormone support would be from a higher fat diet.
Okay, awesome. Our next question is by Danny, and he's asking you if you could share your split.
Oh, okay. So my split is 5 days a week. I have 2 upper body days and 3 lower body days. And my rest days are Monday and Thursday. So starting on Sunday, I have a leg day that is more quad focused, quads and adductors. Monday's rest. Tuesday is my glute day, just straight up glute isolation. Wednesday is more shoulders and arms. Thursday is rest. Friday is glutes with more hamstring focus. And Saturday is just chest and back.
The fact that she had that memorized just tells you a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's rinse and repeat every single week. So it's glued into my brain.
What about
Yeah.
do you incorporate cardio in your split at all?
Yeah. So being in bodybuilding, cardio I'm sorry, there's noise outside. I don't know. Can you hear me?
We can hear you good, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, my cardio is high at the moment. So I do fasted cardio. So right when I wake up in the morning, I have an apartment gym right here and I go and do my cardio there. Um, and I do about 50 minutes. It's pretty high. Yeah, and for cardio to kind of count as cardio, um, it's you have to be in a certain heart rate zone and you can calculate that. So just there's zone one, zone two, zone three, zone four, and five. It depends on your age, your weight, things like that. And you have to be in a certain heart rate zone for a specific period of time um, in order for it to count as cardio. Outside of that, I will say like most people should be paying attention to getting step count in more than anything. Um, my first recommendation for anyone trying to incorporate cardio, um, get your steps in. Get your steps in. That is the bare minimum movement that someone should be able to do if they are able to. Get 4 miles in as much as you can.
Okay. The next question is, how do you maintain and or improve your energy levels?
Ooh, sleep. That is the number one form of recovery that most people don't want to admit they aren't very good at.
I think that's
Um,
like the hardest part for a
yeah,
listeners because as people of color, like we like to have a good time. We like to spend time with our family, our friends, and like I guess sleep wasn't always like a thing that our parents stressed that much either, I've noticed, and like a lot of different communities. So
yeah. No,
that's that,
yeah, yeah.
how do you like beat that? Like if everybody's just hanging out, like how do you just be like, guys, like I'm out, like I'm going to sleep. I'm sorry, like I can't hang out.
I mean, if I can stay up and I know that I have the next day off, I definitely give myself the freedom to stay up and sleep in into the next day. But like again, priorities. What are you prioritizing your health and your sleep, or are you prioritizing social time that you can make up later? So it's one of those things like it depends on your personality, I will say. Like if you're someone who just deeply cares about those moments, um, and you can't let them go, I guess you can sacrifice the sleep, but I don't recommend it. I really don't, because all of the work that you're putting in on yourself is going to kind of be lost if you're not recovering well enough.
Yeah, sleep is so important in protein synthesis. So
Yeah.
thing that we don't really like talk about enough, but you do need a lot of ATP in order to have that like muscle regeneration. So that
Yeah, and not just muscle regeneration, but it's for your brain health as well. It's like if you need to focus in a certain, day and you don't have enough sleep, caffeine is not always going to be the get-go for you. It's really not. Because you're gonna have energy crashes after that, and you're gonna feel groggy, you're gonna feel just not overall well. So again, taking recovery seriously is something that it's just part of something you have to prioritize. And social hours, again, put them in places where you can um, have that as well as sleep.
speaking of caffeine, Bilal asked, is Red Bull good for your health?
In moderation.
I don't
Look,
think it's
look,
good for
I'm
your health. Like I don't think it's good. I mean, maybe your mental health because it like makes you like awake.
Yeah, yeah, no, like I don't recommend energy drinks. And someone asked about pre-workout, right?
Yeah,
How
they said Thomas asked, do you recommend pre-workout over
Oh
energy?
wait, CKM asked give us some protein intake hacks. Um, so having bulk proteins cooked. I cook my protein sources in bulk every single week. I make a big batch of chicken. I make a big batch of beef or steak. I have egg whites every day. Protein powders that, work best for you. There's just so many sources that you can get protein from and just keep them consistent every day and have them on hand, like you don't want to just say like, oh, I'm gonna go eat this instead because I didn't have this in the fridge.
What
So
about like Chick-fil-A? Does that count as protein with the
yeah, like there are many ways. I think there's a creator on TikTok. Her name is Small with Sam. I don't know, but she lost so much weight and she posts meals that she gets from fast food places that are very high in protein. I don't have the freedom to do that at the moment, but if I was in a pinch and I really needed a high protein meal, I would go to her page and I would look at it. There's Chick-fil-A like grilled nuggets. Those are very high in protein. I think the 12 count is like 40 something grams of protein. So yeah, there are so many different ways that you can get protein on the go. Protein shakes are great. If you have an appetite like me, I would probably go with the grilled nuggets from Chick-fil-A.
what about like the protein shakes? Like do you think that it would be better to have the whole foods over the shakes.
Absolutely, because you're curbing your appetite more when you have food that's digesting in your stomach and not just, liquids. I always recommend people eat their protein more than they drink it. Same with calories. Eat your calories, don't drink them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the next question is, I've never heard anyone talk about zones in cardio. Does that imply intensity?
Yeah, it implies intensity. So if you have an Apple Watch, and you turn on like one of the cardio workouts, and you can slide down and see like zone one, zone two is being active, and it's certain heart rate zones that can put you in that zone. So zone two is a fat burning zone. So for me as a 24-year-old female, my zone one, it caps at 137 beats per minute. So when I'm doing a certain cardio activity and I go into 138 to 154, that's my zone two. So I'm in a fat burning zone in zone two. And zone three, four, and five, those are even more intense cardio zones that, are for your heart health more than anything.
Dr. Andrew Huberman actually touches on this a lot and says that we should be in zone two, or we should have our heart rate go into zone two for, I forgot the amount of time exactly, but every single day to like prevent heart attacks in the future.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very good for your heart health and your VO2 max to, work out and stay in a zone two um cardio zone for I want to say at least 20 to 30 minutes. That's probably a good amount for most people to be able to handle and see some kind of change within their body composition when they're incorporating cardio.
Michael asks how often should I take pre-workout?
So there are a lot of different pre-workout supplements that you can take. There's ones with caffeine and then there's ones without caffeine. If you're working out in the morning, I want to say before 11 a.m., it's safe to use pre-workout with the serving size recommendation on the packaging. Um, use it with caffeine. Anything after 11 a.m., if you're trying to focus on sleep, I would use something called a pre-workout pump formula, which will have things like beta-alanine, L-citrulline, sodium, all of those things that can give you factors that pump up your lift or your workout that make you just feel more focused in the gym. So look into pump
Like
formula. Yeah,
necessarily going to affect your sleep. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Pump formulas are great because if you're trying to reduce yeah, so yeah, they're called non-stim pre's or pump formulas. And they're great if you're trying to decrease your caffeine intake. And I recommend that most people don't go over 200 milligrams of caffeine a day. I will say like it's important. Caffeine really does help workouts, but there's a certain limit, especially if you're prone to heart palpitations, sleep problems, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, and our last question by Thomas is, do you recommend pre-workout or energy drinks?
Um, oh my goodness. I guess it just depends on your goal in that moment. So like I recommend energy drinks if you're just gonna do cardio. I recommend pre-workouts for actual lifting because the formulas in pre-workout powders, or there's some like pre-mixed pre-workouts, they help with muscle contractions.
Yeah.
Um, so that's my recommendation for both. I recommend both if you need a little boost.
Okay, amazing. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Nashville Network Alliance. I hope you all enjoyed our conversations and our beautiful guest, Aya.
Thank
Um,
you.
Now, if you're feeling inspired to start your own fitness journey or make a positive change, feel free to message her. I will add her. I'll add your Instagram in the tags for the video later. But That concludes today's episode, and thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you for coming. Okay,
Absolutely.
hope you have a great day.
Thank you. So do you.
All right, bye bye.